All right. How about that?
Is this a new one?
No, this is the same one. It's the same stream. Just as I was saying, things seem to be looking like they're going to work pretty good. Poop, it went off. All right, well, let's keep going. I just checked it. Now I have 3 bars. So, okay. We did good last night. It didn't go off a single time. Excuse me. The thumbnail that I put up there is this picture. Lone Star just put up error crashed.
Reload. I've got you as live. You're live here.
All right, I'm good. All right, well, I think we'll.
Oh.
Okay, let's try it. November 2020, Homestead Hog Harvest here at Baker's Green Acres is going to be the 6th through the 8th. Okay, I had a question about it today. That class is full right now. The Beaver Island class is going to be the 14th through the 16th of November. And to get signed up for that, you can go to flattailedfurs.com. Lone Star just said it crashed.
Okay, well, mine's working now, so.
Okay. All right. Well. December 4th through the 6th will be Homestead Hog Harvest here at Baker's Green Acres. That's a December class, so a little bit cooler. And then the next class after that is going to be on the 11th through the 13th, and that's going to be in Maine. All right, it's working good on this end. I couldn't read the name on that. It's Tile Setter, okay. All right, and that's in Maine. And if you want more details on that, you can go to bakersgreenacres.com. That's correct? All right. So tonight is our weekly question and answer session. And so I have Jill right here at the table with me. I will show you Jill. She's looking good today, isn't she? And she's got her laptop going. So she'll be able to field any questions that you might have. We just ask if you would put those questions in all caps, then she'll know that they're questions, and then we can, take the appropriate action. She can read them to me, and we can have a conversation about it. Today around here was a good day for me. I am going to have an excellent week all week long because the weather is in the 60s, not quite 70. Sunny all week long. However, if you've looked at the sun these last couple days, you should know that there's a lot of smoke in front of the sun. And here I am, about midway in the country in Michigan, and out west is where all the fires are. Oregon, California, Washington, lots of fires, lots and lots of fires. And if you listen to, after a while you can start to figure out who's lying and who's not. It seems as though these fires are being intentionally set, or some of them are. And when you listen to NPR, they say, "Oh, quit saying that, because you're wasting resources and all this." And NPR is notorious for leaning extremely left. And when we say left now, we should be saying socialist, and even more than that, we should be saying communist. I mean, say it, just say it. That's where they're at right now. So it appears as though this fire thing is another one of their little weapon things that they're going to do to create chaos. And I have friends that live out there, and they say that there is a lot of local news about them catching people doing stuff like this. They are catching people, you know, they pull over pickup trucks and they have fire bombs in the back of them, and they've caught guys doing it, and pretty bad that they would do that. I mean, it's actually kind of, I don't know. It's sort of like firing a machine gun up in the air and hoping nobody gets hit with it. But you light forests on fire, and you're causing a whole lot of unnecessary death, you know, human beings, and then the wildlife that's there, and the forests themselves, killing them like that. It's a tragedy that people would do that, you know, it really is. And, but we haven't talked much, or I haven't talked much about prepping these days, but I'm going to put my my weekly plug in right now. You know, things have not let up. There's been incident after incident after incident, and to think that it is going to let up would be foolish. And you know, we don't really have to say, okay, this is going to happen or nothing's going to happen. You know, it could be shades. But there are some sources that I trust, that I've listened to for a long time, and they've been right a lot, saying that there's planned operations right up until the election this November. And I just want to say that, you know, now is the time. You've got 50 days today, 50 days. Don't waste a day. If you have extra money in your pocket, go and buy some food, and, you know, maybe a water filter so you can have some clean water to drink, cases of water, maybe put some silver aside, some gold aside, maybe put some lead aside, if you know what I mean. Get your firewood in for the winter time. Get your skills up to speed. No sense in planting a garden now. It's too late for that. But you know, you can, and Jill did today. She went over to Bryce's place, and he had a bunch of extra stuff. He filled all of his orders, and he had a bunch of extra stuff. So she bought a whole bunch of extra stuff from him. And now that we got the root cellar, we can just put it down there. And, you know, you can do that. And it would be good for local farmers too. Find a farmer's market and go. Get a bunch of potatoes, you know. But don't waste these 50 days by doing nothing. Do something, please. I'm going to. All right, so my day today was, I started out this morning by making a video that I posted over on Baker's Green Acres, and I got some people reacted to it quite quickly, and it seemed like a very prudent thing to do. You know, the pandemic and everything aside, next spring is coming, and right now, if you go to greenhouses and places like that sell seedlings, a lot of times they have stuff that they just want to get rid of. Maybe not seedlings, but small trees, fruit trees, bushes, raspberries, blueberries, stuff like that. And you can get them in this time of year. You know, you just bring them home and dig the hole the way they tell you to dig the hole. Usually the instructions that are on those are pretty close to where they should be, and get them in. And that way next spring, you know, things will be, you'll have things that are taking off. They're already in the ground, and as soon as the snow clears or, you know, it starts to warm up, you have stuff that's taken off. Raspberries, blueberries, yes? Things like that. So you're getting a jump on next year, and it might be a good thing to do. We have even talked about planting a lot of our stuff this year. So I think what I'm gonna do is when I get all the potatoes out, I'm gonna rototill that section. I'm gonna make the hills, plant them, and then maybe seed it down with rye, and I should get about this much coverage, and that way the soil is covered. And then in the spring, we think that the potatoes will come up and come up above. We haven't tried it though. But this year I did make hills or last fall I made a hill for all of our garlic. And it turns out that there was a couple potatoes that got in there somehow, and they came up really nice. We got some real nice potatoes out of those. So that's where the idea came from. Gonna try it. Can't hurt, you know, if we had a row of potatoes, can't hurt. All right. Is there anything else? I had a great day today. I started my day off by making a video, and I got some input on that I thought was pretty good. And then I had one of these projects that every time you walk across the lawn and you go into the butcher shop, there was a patch of sand right in front of that back door. And so you'd have wet feet, you'd walk right through that sand right in the butcher shop. Coming the other way, you've got wet feet, and then you're coming up across the lawn and you're coming in the house with it. And it was really getting old, and we would shovel that sand out of there and put a rubber mat down just to, you know, it'll be okay for a while. And then the dogs would dig that back out because they like to lay there. So what I did is I put some railroad ties in, and I made a nice step, and then I filled it with stone, and it turned out really nice. And it's funny, when you have things like that plague you, they're just sort of a little needle prick, but a couple times a day, when you finally get it fixed, you feel like you've done something really good, right? So that's what I did today. I did that, and then I wound up doing a bunch of cleaning up, putting stuff away, you know, just stuff that I'd wanted to do for a long time, and finally made a final decision on where I'm going to put my. I've got a tank out there that's cut in half. It's a big one. It would have been about 12 feet in diameter, and it's just cut in half. So I've got about 6 feet above ground, and I'm going to put it up on railroad ties, so it makes sort of a Quonset hut for putting wood in, and I can also put the Jeep in there. I don't use the Jeep in the wintertime, and I'd kind of like to have it someplace where I don't have to keep moving it out of the way, you know, in the maintenance shop, or if I put it in the barn, then I have to move it every time I want to get straw out or hay out, and I prefer not to do that. I'd like to have it someplace where you can just put it in, put some stable in the gas, take the battery out of it, and that's where it's going to sit until spring. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. I don't drive it in the wintertime. I drive my plow truck in the wintertime, and it's the same thing. If I've got a job someplace, I load tools on it and I go. The other thing is Lone Star. That land next door is being shown by some other realtor, and I actually inquired about it, and so I probably need to know if you're done with it, because it is next door to me, and I wouldn't mind adding it to this farm. So I did inquire about it with the USDA. They make loans on land like that, and so I didn't talk to the realtor or anything, but I kind of have an idea that maybe we could put a structure over there, and it could be used for I don't know, educational things, or maybe somebody could live over there short term or something like that. So, had some ideas. The hay ground is really nice, and I'd hate for some developer to just get it and start building spec homes over there. I don't want that to happen. And but anyway, I think we're about the only people that would really want it because you're right, 75% of it we can't do anything with. And, that's a lot of money to pay for just a place to shoot a deer, so we'll see. All right. I think that's really all I had to brief.
Lone Star asked, are you talking to Brandon? Did you talk to the realtor over
No,
there?
I didn't talk to the realtor. I've been just talking to people at the USDA about a loan. They have loans real cheap right now, like 1.5%. And if I add it to this farm, there shouldn't really be a problem, Are you done with it, though? Because I think he didn't want to pursue it any further.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm ready for a question. I'm ready for a
Some
question.
thumbs ups.
Yeah, we need some thumbs up, too, if we can get some thumbs up.
All right. Well, Lone Star did ask, you currently homestead 80 acres. Could you homestead on 20? What would change?
That's a good
yes,
question.
That's related to the fact that there is only 20 acres to homestead over there.
Really, I think 80 acres is a lot to homestead on. We have a lot more than we need, and it's in hay, so I have to cut the hay. And if I didn't own that, I suppose somebody else would own it, and then I would maybe have somebody there that would be too close to me. I just soon there be nobody for a mile around me. That's the way I prefer it to be. But most everything that I do is right up here on the front of my property. One of these days, well, why don't I do it now? I should go to the whiteboard, shouldn't I? Why not? Why not? Let me put in my earbud. We got plenty of time. This helps, right? So you can hear me. If it does crackle, let me know and I'll switch to the other one. But they kind of go back and forth depending on how well charged they are. Bunch of flies in here, Jill. All right. Let's see. How does that look? All right, that's an 80 acre. An 80 acre is a quarter of a mile by a half a mile. All right, you see that okay? Yeah, next time I'm at the store, I'm going to get some thicker ones of these. Or the blue one maybe is better. I don't see it. All right. Well, if this is R80, our house is right up here. And then our barn is right here. And there's a driveway that comes like this up to the house. And then it goes back like this and down all the way to the back. Right? And so right up here is where our garden is right here. And the little shed that I just built with my root cellar is right here. And the cows are up here, and then they follow a lane going out into the back. But mostly everything that we do is on the front. And this is just land that we cut hay and graze on. I don't have any structures out there. I ran water out there years ago, but I don't use it now. Back then, I thought that it was a good idea to have water so the cows wouldn't have to walk back up to the house. But now that you're milking them, you don't want them to have water because then they'll just stay there. You'll have to go get them. But, if they're motivated to come back by they're thirsty, then they come back. So I think on a 20, you definitely have less hay to cut. You probably wouldn't want to invest in hay equipment. You'd probably want to have somebody cut it for you. But you could run all the chickens you want, like chicken tractors and stuff like that. You could graze, I don't think you could go around the calendar grazing, but if you're going to graze, maybe 6 cows, you'd have about 6 steers that you'd graze. Depends whether you want to have milk cows or not. You could do a lot with 20. People get hung up on, well, I only have 0.3 acres of land. But if you follow like Rachel Jamerson, she does a lot with the 0.3 acres that she has. She does a whole lot. So 20 acres, you'd be surprised. If you had to mow that with a push mower, you would be there all week mowing it. I just went over there, by the way, and drove around a little bit. And there's a really nice spot. It's a knob where it'd be a perfect place for a house. And it's close to the back. The woods in the back would all be accessible. You just can't. I found out the restrictions on that. You can't even break a branch back there, right? And the guys that owned it built a deer stand, but the restriction was it had to be movable, right? And they didn't do that. They sunk posts in the ground and they put a big deer stand up. And it's a real nice one. It's up high. But yeah, I'm told too. I was talking to a neighbor about it the other day, and he said that the brother-in-law of the guys that owned it made the decision he was going to graze cattle in the back, and he got slapped for it. I don't know how they found out, but they did. So, I had said that I would just do it and hope for the best, but I don't know. I think they must monitor it. They must. Probably do. They flying overhead in airplanes all the time. Excuse me. I'm getting a stuffed up head. I hope I'm not getting a cold. But I feel like I am getting a cold. All right. I'll take another question if you got one.
Yep. Brittany's calf just died, and they're not sure what happened. It's 5 months old. They didn't notice any particular symptoms or anything. What would just kill a calf?
Oh, a calf. I tell you what, with calves, you have to look at them every single day. I have a calf that we took from its mom, and it seems like all of a sudden I looked at it and it was like, whoa, what happened to you? They lose condition really fast if you're not really staying on top of them. With a calf, I bet you it was a pneumonia. They're very prone to that. And you have to know.
With this weather we just had.
Yeah, with the weather that we just had. What you have to look for is you have to know it's really in their eyes, the look in their eyes. When you see a certain look, it's like their eyes are sunken into their head. You have to get after it right away. And you really, got to listen to them. If they're rattling at all, then you got to hit them with A200 antibiotic, and you got to hit them with a lot of it. And that's when they're young. It shouldn't happen, but if it does, that's what you have to do. You could, it might be a little late now to autopsy that calf, but that would be the first thing I would look at be the lungs and see what's happening there. I would be interested to find out where you got the calf and what the, um, you know, what the circumstance. If it was a deacon calf that came out of like a dairy operation, a lot of times they don't take care of them like they're going to survive. They're selling them to guys that run, what do they call that stuff? Young
Oh,
veal barns, and really gross. And they sell them really cheap. That's why we can get calves so cheap, bull calves. Um, they really undervalue uh, Holstein bull calves. They really do. Um, if you can get a bull calf for $10, get three of them, you know, and then get them up to 150 pounds and sell two of them. It'll pay for your milk replacer and anything else that you encountered along the way, and you'll probably make $100. Or you can raise three of them out and sell two of them, and it'll pay for your butchering. You'll get all your beef for nothing. Actually, you can do it with just two of them. You raise two, sell one, and it'll pay for all the butchering, and it'll pay for all the feed that you've had to spend to get both of them up to speed. That's kind of a rule of thumb. But I did that one time. Actually, it worked pretty good. So that's all I can tell you. Got anything else? If we have a lull in the action here, I'm going to turn it over to Jill. You guys might know that she runs a side hustle called Abundant Living, and it's a class that she does, and she's really got that end of things figured out, the health of the human body figured out as pertains to the inputs that you put into it, attitudes, a lot of things like that, which we're finding out have a whole lot more to do with health than we ever thought. And I'll turn it over to her, and she can kind of explain some of that. Do we have a lull in the action?
We do.
Okay.
Yeah. So if
And
you
then
have questions, you need to make sure you
all
put
right.
them in caps.
Yeah, start putting the questions in. Okay, there's a question, but I'll get it up there.
Jonathan was just, that's what we were thinking when we built the half-acre paddock.
All right, well, let me turn this over to Jill. And then when she's, I'll take back over. Oh, just turn that whole thing?
Oh, yeah, you
can just turn the whole thing.
Give a sweep of the room.
There you
go. Yeah, so Kaleidoscope asked us a couple weeks ago what we said for raising multiple cats.
Oh, okay.
It works. You were asking what, right? I like to have the kids know at least about health when they leave. Oh yeah. So Mark's comment about a cold coming on is a case in point. My goals are to have them be able to feed themselves, so know how to cook, how to do laundry, how to get their food from the raw state onto their plate. Teach them that. We talk a lot about the food that you eat, eating real food, why you want to do that, how that impacts your health, seasonal diet. We do a lot of that, just seasonal eating, because we eat off the farm. And we talk about why that is, why we honor the life of an animal, which has a lot to do with your health as well, eating the whole thing, honoring its life as a gift. My biggest goal is to have them be able to connect what they do with how they feel. You only do that with kids by living it out. So we do a lot of conversations about that, noticing, like with my teen kids, my acne's acting up. Well, let's see. This weekend you hung out with your buddies a lot. What did you eat? How much did you sleep when you got home? Did you have any quiet time? Oh, yeah, I'm feeling really stressed and I still got all this homework and we had pizza and um, so they kind of start to connect those dots between how well they take care of themselves and how they feel, how much energy they have. For teenagers, acne is a really great tool for assessing their health because it means a lot to them. They can live on low sleep and moan together about being tired, but acne on your face is just not. Lone Star.
Calling on the phone?
Yeah.
Can't call on the phone, Lone Star. We're doing the show.
Sir, I'm on Mark's phone. You can't call him. Um, I have Kaleidoscope. I have set them up. Well, one of them with canning supplies. We got freezers for a couple of them. Meat to them if they want it, and they, at a family rate, um, make sure they get a good deal. Unless they help us. If they come and help us, then that's how they pay for their meat. Offered our daughter the use of our garden and our bagging supplies because she wants things frozen, and we have that super backpacker. So yeah, anything we can do to facilitate them eating well, even with the grandkids talking about, oh, they're having this issue, try this, try that. Uh, I see health very holistically. Of the 10 habits that I teach, he probably did YouTube, do that on purpose, just to stir things up, break things up. But of the 10 habits that I teach, natural ways of establishing flow and getting your health into integrity with how you were made, how the world works. Of all of those 10, what you actually eat is only one of them. What you eat is incredibly important. A lot of people are on their homesteads because they want to be healthy. They want better food. They want a better life for their kids. And that's awesome. It's important to learn how to do that. I know a lot of you have good habits. You've spent time learning how to cultivate good food, how to take care of yourself with different things, and that's all great. There's a whole lot to being healthy. So that's what I help people do, not just with teaching, but then with, and now I forget where I was exactly. But um, anyway, yeah, so so you're investing in your homestead. It's partially an investment in your own health. Uh, Mark mentioned on Monday the human element of homesteading. And we're talking from experience when we say, as you build your homestead, make sure that you take care of yourself as you do it, especially moms with kids. It's so easy to totally pour yourself, and it's fun and it's great, and you're doing wonderful things. Pouring yourself into your homestead, into your animals and your land and your garden and all of these things, and you can totally deplete yourself doing it. So that's how I ended up in this in the first place, is because I was so busy taking care of the farm and the business and Mark and the kids that I didn't honor what my body was asking me to do, to pay attention to, and taking care of myself, which is why that's one of the primary things I teach the kids, is to make that connection with cause and effect, and then to honor what your body is asking you for. Because we were eating lots of good food, great food, working with a natural path even, and we were still getting sick. I was still sick, had a whole drawer full of supplements, and we were hanging in there, but there's a lot to being healthy besides just what you eat. When you eat, how you eat, when you sleep, the things you do to get ready to sleep, the things you do when you wake up in the morning, they all are just little things that bring you into integrity with what you're trying to do on your homestead, which is work with nature. You know, you're trying to cultivate soil, trying to work with the seasons, work with your animals' nature so they can help you, all these great things. Remember to do the same for yourself, and your kids will pick that up as you go. You'll teach them the skills, have them work right along with you. Let's see, close. Hopefully, your boys will. You know, they have done remarkably well so far. So good, um, and they get along. They're all kind of going their own ways right now. Uh, but teamwork. I know Mark's talked about that. We stress teamwork. You're going to have a really hard time with your homestead on your own. He's talked about community, and your family is your community. I programmed our two youngest from when they were little. You're a team. Go team. You're buddies. You're each other's best buddies. Would you really hit your best buddy like that? Little guilt trip. Um, so yeah, your team. You honor what you're trying to do. Uh, Being in integrity with how things work is the essence of health. I know Mark's talked a lot about that on the soil and on the farm, that when you bring everything together and you get it all working as a whole, each thing doing the thing it was meant to do, it becomes a network. And that's what you're doing, is building a network between your soils, the things in the soil, your animals as they take stuff off, add stuff back in, they feed us. They also go back and feed the soil. Anything that we don't use, it becomes a network. And you're part of that network. So honoring your own integrity, honoring your changes within the seasons, the foods that are there to nourish you in the seasons, knowing that it's okay to go to bed earlier in the winter because winter is a time when you rest up and sleep. Summer is a time when, you go to bed and you get up with the sun and you get a whole lot more done because there's a whole lot more daylight and a lot more to do. Salatin's the first one that we heard talk about that. As far as honoring the seasons on your homestead, that you need a rest time in the winter. That's your time to rest your body, read your books, come to this so we can talk and you can learn. You make your plans. Bryce was saying he's got his garden planned out in December. So you're using those dark months, quiet months. It's a time of rest, rejuvenation, and then you're ready to hit it again hard in the summer. You've already laid your plans, gotten your supplies, you're ready to go. That natural exchange of rest and work, you absolutely need. That's one of the things with a lot of the industrial farms. They push those cows year round. They push their people year round. In our stores, we want to see the same produce and fruits year round. And so we're pushing our food systems constantly, and it's out of sync. We end up eating things that weren't meant to nourish our bodies in the season that we're in, so we get sick. We're pushing our ground hard, we're pushing our animals hard so that we can do things that are unnatural. And then we're sick and we wonder why. And people go to the doctor and they tell them, here, take a pill. And it's all out of integrity, not working with systems the way that they are supposed to be. Um, yeah. So chicken, yeah, that's great, Haven. Get it off as your pastures get done. Historically, you'd eat your chicken in the summer. You'd have whatever through the winter, but Your pork and your beef, you harvest in the fall when the pastures are done and it's cold and the flies are gone. That red meat, that heavier, the fat in all of those, they should be fat. Some forget the other white meat. Your pork should be fat because you're designed to need that heavier nutrition and that extra, the omega-3 fatty acids, that extra lubrication, all of that that you get from the fat, that energy through the winter. You need that. That's how it's designed. By fall, you would have eaten through a lot of your red meat and you'd be having your hanging meats. That's how they used to do the mangalitas all the time. That was their fat for the year, and they would hang a lot of that so that that's what's available through the summer. That's when you do your fishing, you have your chickens, all of those things then through the summer that are lighter, easier to digest, and give you energy, but don't slow you down and drag you down. Everything in cycles and integrity. And that's what we talk to our kids about. We teach them the skills. Yeah, kaleidoscope. Actually, the canner that I gifted was a Christmas present, I believe, because Kyle had wanted to do some canning, and so I said, "Okay, here you go. You're set for next year." Um, I think we gave. Well, it wasn't for Father's Day. I think for Mark's birthday or something, we gave him compost. He loved it. It was great on his garden, and they took off on that. So anything we could do to help them out as they're starting. There's, well, two of them now that are established in homes. So the rest of them are still figuring out what they're going to do with their lives. Or, Sam has a U.S. Air Force room. He's not doing much. But interestingly enough, he and I were talking. I've kind of coached him through some of these habits. Now that he's out on his own and making his own decisions, they come back and say, "Oh, this is going on, that's going on. What should I do?" And say, "Okay, you eat your heavy meal at lunch. That's when you get all your meat, and then eat something really light for dinner. Try and do your heavy duty, your gym workout before dinner if possible." He was like, "Oh yeah, I get off work, I'm feeling sluggish. I can go to the gym, work out, and then go get my light dinner." He's found he's losing weight. He has more energy, sleep better because he's digesting his food better. Um, Gets rid of that energy from sitting around, but still has time to slow down so that when he's ready to go to bed, he's chilled out. All of those things. It's a flow, it's a pattern, it's integrity with our natural rhythms that are kind of like gravity, whether we go with them or not. So that's what I am teaching my kids, and they're figuring it out slowly but surely. If they don't get it if they don't seem to get it while they're still home, don't worry. When it says train up a child in the way they should go, and that's like going in the pattern that they're supposed to go, because we all have a unique constitution, and within the framework of your potential constitution, there are as many combinations as you can imagine, but there is a unique way for each of us to go. Whether it's the food patterns that are good for you with your constitution, or the things that you are intended to do, the place that you live in, combined with your constitution and the season that you're in. These all are factors that can help you maximize your health, as well as maximize your productivity, your efficiency, your energy, all those things that we need to run our homestead, do our garden, take care of our animals, keep a herd on the kids. The kids will all eventually get that, especially if you have young kids. And I know some of you guys that are on here, because I've seen you make comments, you know this. Have them walk through everything with you. There's some things that maybe are age inappropriate and you need to figure that out. But by and large, kids get a ton of stuff. They can understand the cycle of life, things living, things dying, things have purpose. There's a great life lesson in things have a purpose. And when they walk through, thanks Kaleidoscope, when they walk through your homesteading process with you and they see you make a priority of whatever you make a priority of, whether it's making sure that everybody's healthy by taking care of themselves, whether it's making sure that you have good, healthy food on your table, taking care of the land, whatever your values are, which, by the way, is a great thing to sit down and make part of your homestead plan, your values, because sometimes they're going to get challenged. And if you have them written down, that's your north pointing compass, and you know how to make your decisions and what you want to make sure is included or you come back to. And as your kids see you live that out, they will come back to it. We've seen that. We wondered about that. Yeah, more is caught than taught, for sure, what they see you do. So that's sort of the long-winded answer to your question, Kaleidoscope. But
Comes
good
back
breaking
on.
off point. Any more questions?
No more questions?
No.
All right, we do not have any more questions. So if you guys have questions, get them in right now. As Jill was talking about that, something came to me that I thought about today, and I thought it was a good thing to think about, was the word sanctuary. Um, we're making a place that's a sanctuary to us, right? And like she was talking about, in the wintertime, it's time to rest and recuperate. And that's something that's just not part of the American lifestyle, you know? We're just pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. And I had problems with that for a long time, especially when I started farming. I was working a full time job, and when I would get home, I'd slam a cup of coffee, and then I had so much energy built up that I would just stay up until real late at night, and then I'd be dragging the next day, and I'd say, "Oh, I'm not going to do that again." But by the time I got home, it was like I was going to do it again, and I did it, and I did it, and I did it. So I burned the candle from both ends, and I still do that every now and again. And I realize that you don't really get as far ahead as you think you do, and you can lose a lot of ground when you make a mistake, or you slap a cow in the face, or you yell at a kid that you really shouldn't just because you're stressed out. So that whole rest thing and sleeping at night is something that we overlook. And when you start sleeping at it at night, like I'm always saying, embrace it. I got that from Ted Nugent, right? If I would embrace it, he said. Um, and you know, you have to embrace these things as though they are part of your life, and it's a good thing to. I really do. What do you got? Knives?
A question.
Okay. And so Jill has, okay, let me fill in the blanks. When we started this, uh, we had a learning curve that wasn't so good, you know, because we didn't know what we were doing. Had an idea of the direction we wanted to go, but a lot of the things that we experienced were difficult. And both of our health suffered, but Jill's more than mine. Oh, way more than mine. You know, she got rashes and um, energy issues, and she was irritable all the time, you know, but she really suffered for it. And he had her in to see a regular doc, and they just wanted to give her stuff, you know, give her pills and stuff. And then we started going to see a naturopath, and that's how we wound up going down this, you know, honing our operation to this lifestyle, um, intentional lifestyle direction. And I think, you know, that's where the whole, hey, we want to show people how to do this came from.
it was almost like a giving back, because it was almost like it was bestowed on us. Because, my way of thinking when I got out of the Air Force was, okay, now I'm going to make money, because you don't make money when you're in the service. Now we're going to make some money. I'm going to get that Corvette I've always wanted. And so that was my focus. I was gravitated towards people who had money, because I thought they knew how to make money. Instead of gravitated to people that had skills, which is where I gravitate now, people that have intellect and wisdom, that's where I gravitate now. And I don't really see money as it's not the paramount thing, really. Money is the ability to do work. And we can do a lot of work if we just think about it, buckle down, stay with it, and resist, goofing off. I love to goof off, but you have to resist it. So the direction that we're going now is the direction I plan on staying on, for the foreseeable long future, because this is good. This is productive. We're doing better than we ever did. And plus we're making the kind of gains that I feel are worth, in the scope of our short lives on Earth. They're worth something. You do things that affect people's lives and help people develop skills. That's worth something. So, but the word sanctuary kept coming to me, and more. If you listen to Bard's FM, he says, in order to understand tolerance, you must understand intolerance, right? And we're looking at right now. I don't know if you guys have heard about this today, but some of these governors and mayors that have provided sanctuary for people who are destroying the city and destroying private property and public property, they're seriously in danger of being hit with insurrection charges. You can't do that. So they've provided sanctuary for the Antifas and the Black Lives Matter, and it could cause them some real problems. It's in all the Democrat held strongholds. They are Democrat sanctuaries, is what they are. All right, not good, not good. Yeah, there's a lot of news came out today along those lines. But your sanctuary, it needs to be someplace where you can thrive and survive. And it's not just like you've got rice and beans and an AR-15. It has to be so much more than that. It has to be a psychological sanctuary for you to go. My routine is, I don't mind getting back to my old routine. I like it. I have big plans for tomorrow. Can't wait. Can't wait to get going. You got any more questions? I saw one, man. Swirl of death.
Yeah, mine just kind of went.
Yours is not working good either?
Well, it just went someplace crazy.
Yeah, it's swirling now. Oh, Baker's Green Acres page, but Mark's mentioned another one. This is swirling now, so I don't know if you guys are getting me. It's still swirling. All right, now I'm on hotspot. Somebody just said something about, I had mentioned a different, not only Baker's Green Acres, but a different page, and that would be the Anyone Can Farm Tribe page. That's on Facebook. And last I looked at it, it was 999 people in there. So that's pretty good, I guess. I don't know how quickly Facebook pages grow, but I've seen some really cool stuff posted on there lately. I've posted some stuff. I think it's a really neat thing. So it's worth pouring into. You don't know, like I've said before, you don't know who's going to see it and what kind of impact you're going to have on them. by showing your projects and what you've done. You know, Jill was talking about health. I wonder if my earbud is crackling. I heard a little crackle.
Oh, you know what? I have my volume off, so I don't know.
All right, I'll switch them. When I said, I wonder if I'm getting a cold, I realized we don't really get sick around here very much. Last winter, something went through, and maybe it was the China virus, but everybody was just kind of not doing too well. Rachel had it the worst. It seems like it hung on with her for about 10 days. But we generally don't really get sick. And I think it's because our resilience is really built up. Before living here, I guess we did, you know, just like everybody else. You had cold would go through the house, or flu or virus or whatever. But we really don't have very much sickness here. And I think it has a lot more to do with just our lifestyle and, you know, staying away from certain things and eating good food and getting plenty of air, plenty of fresh air, plenty of sunshine, things like that. You guys, I am really sorry about the. Tell you what, I'll get after it and I'll read antenna tomorrow and I'll do what I can to really tweak it. While Jill was talking to you, I read the instructions and there's more I can do than I did do. So
do you want Brittany's question?
Yeah, I'll take Brittany's question.
What do you do with animals that die on the farm?
That's a good question. Steve Trombley called me the other day and he said one of his sows died, and he says, "Can I process her up for dog food?" And I said, I wouldn't do it. I don't know why. It's just that if you go out and you find an animal that's dead, you don't know why it's died. Feeding it to other animals, it just doesn't seem like a good idea to me. So we compost all kinds of stuff. Like a calf, you go and it should be going when you stick the calf in it. And what I mean by that, it should be creating the heat. And when you break into it with a loader, there should be steam that comes out. And that calf won't be there, but more than about 2 weeks, it'll just be gone. Some pieces of it you'll still find, like shin bones, they call them, and that's just above the hoofs on the front feet. Those are the shin bones. You'll find those. They're really hard, thick, and they're resistant to being broken down. Now, that's on a full-size cow. I don't know about a calf. Been a while since. Oh no, I've had a calf die last winter. I put it in the compost pile, and I don't think I ever found the shin bones. I know I didn't find the skull. On an older cow, the skull's a lot thicker, and a lot of times you'll find the teeth and sometimes the skull. If you knew what killed them, that would be one thing. But if you don't know, I would be afraid to do that. Now you can skin that calf out and you can tan the hide. That might be kind of fun. You can make a outfit for your little bambino. That would be kind of neat. But as far as eating it, no, you wouldn't want to eat it, and you wouldn't want to feed it to your animals, I don't think. You know, you can always just dig a hole and put it in, but it's sort of a waste of nutrients when you think about it, because you don't get to utilize those nutrients later. You put it in a compost pile, and it may, you know, before it's fully gone, you know, and the compost smells good again, it may take a while. But then that calf is not going to waste. I don't know. It's the worst it's ever been. And we just spent all this money on this booster. I appreciate people hanging with us tonight. This must get really aggravating. A lot of people have dropped off, but I'll just tell you this. I had the compost pile. It was a small one. And with all the chicken processing we did this year, I was really putting way more into it than it could handle. And the problem I have around here, if I do that, is then the dogs will dig in it and they'll find little things, and I'll find them all over the yard. And it was so dry. But the last couple of days, I put a micro sprinkler up on top of it that would just sprinkle, just barely saturated the pile. And now I've got it that I'm turning it, and it's really taken off again. So I got to get back after my composting. I've yet to clean out the cows' loafing area, but I'll be doing it. Look, we're over 60 minutes, and I have such bad reception. I think we'll just end this for tonight. Bye. Appreciate you guys listening to Jill drone on and on and on. But if you are interested in what she's talking about, and I think it's worthwhile, give it up. If you would go over to Jill's her page, it's
Solutions.com.
abundantlivingsolutions.com, and you can hear more about what she's offering for her class. You get a couple
There's
of
a Facebook page, Abundant Living.
Facebook page, Abundant Living.
Yeah.
And her name is Jill Baker, my woman. All right, so you can check that out if you're interested in getting more in. Do something. Okay, I give up.